I gotta do. This life is not for you. Whoa.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Tay Marquise, and I'm back again with another video. First and foremost, I want to thank you for stopping by, watching my channel. If you haven't been here before, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell notification to make sure you know when I post my next video. Today I'm making this video to explain to you guys the pre-orientation phase for Prime Inc. Pittston, Pennsylvania. May be fairly different from Springfield, Missouri, but I'm pretty sure it's just about the same process. I'm just going through my process. Your process may be different. Those before me process may have been a little different as well, but I know I couldn't find anything online when I was looking for it, so I just figured I'd post a video, help some of you guys out and, answer any questions that you may have. So let's just jump right into it. Pre-orientation, things that you need to know. Make sure you got your birth certificate, original document, no laminates, social security card, original documents, not laminated. Make sure you, even if it doesn't say it, marriage certificate if you have a last name change, because they're going to do a thorough background check, and if they find that your last name has been changed and it has been put on your application as something different, you just don't need that hiccup in your life, because you will have to show proof of it later that will slow up your process or potentially get you sent home. You don't want that. If they're unable to verify an employer, make sure you bring your last pay stub. Make sure you bring your W-2s just to cover your ass. Prescriptions, if you taking anything, if your drug test came back dirty, you got to be able to give that to, I want to say you give that to the Concentra when they do your DOT. You will go to Concentra, unfortunately, but hey, whatever. What else? Passport. If you got a passport, bring it. You will need your driver's license and your permit. I do know that most states give you 2 IDs. If they don't give you a second ID, they typically give you a piece of paper. Just make sure you have both of those documents. Prior to you coming to Pittston, you will talk to your recruiter the week of. They will send you your bus ticket via email. So you just got to click the link and find out where you got to go. Go up there, get your bus ticket, yada, 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 get your ticket. You know the blase. With the Greyhound bus, make sure you're there an hour early. Now, here's something that I didn't know until I talked to my recruiter. You don't have to take that bus ride. You're able to drive your vehicle. If you drive your vehicle, just make sure you let your recruiter know so that they can put you in the system for a reimbursement when you begin to receive a paycheck and you become a Prime employee. Understand that going through this process, you are not a Prime employee until you have reached the TNT phase. I'll go over that in a second. You'll also have to pay a $100 entry fee, which it'll say on the website. You got to do that before you even schedule a date. The way my process went, I did my application online. She called me within 5 to 10 minutes of me doing it and submitting it. Verified some information, sent it off. The next day I talked to her, hey, you were approved. When do you want to start? Give her a start date. Okay, go to this link, pay the $100. I'll schedule you for that date, and we'll be in touch. When you're going into this phase, just know that your recruiter is your lifeline. That's simple. And that's pretty much it for pre-orientation. Of course, you do need hygiene items. Of course, you do need clothes and all that kind of stuff. We'll get into that. I can't really tell you what to pack. It's self-explanatory. Like, just don't pack too much shit and don't pack nothing at all, because you do need things. But just be conservative, because at some point you're going to end up on somebody's truck. Basically, whether you drive or take the bus, doesn't matter. As soon as you check into that hotel, at the front desk, you're going to get a room key, of course. They're going to tell you that you will have a roommate. They're also going to give you a vanilla folder with your application in it. And you should have gotten an email maybe the day before or something like that that explains fill out the application in its entirety before you arrive to the facility on Monday. You'll get a schedule. Well, actually, no, you won't get a schedule. You won't get a schedule until you get to class on Monday. So you have to ask the front desk what time does the shuttle leave to get to the facility. If you drive, of course, you just drive over there. You will want to probably leave at the time that the front desk told you that leaves. It depends on your recruiter. Your recruiter may tell you that information. I'm not sure, but I know mine didn't. So, I mean, hey, I had to find out and just roll with the punches. Once you do arrive, though, you will get that, and you fill it out. Make sure before you even come here. Clean urine, clean driving record, clean background. Make sure that you got verifiable phone numbers for your employers. Like I said, marriage certificate or anything like that, bring it with you. If a change of a name or anything of that nature, bring it with you. Yeah, just make sure you got people when they do the references. You got good phone numbers, because they will call. It's not a joke, they will. Your recruiter may tell you, oh yeah, you're all good, but once you get over there, you find out something different. You're all good because I think they do like a soft check, but when you get over there, they do a firm check on who you are and what you've been through, what you got going on, what you did, yada yada yada. Now, as long as you're honest and they are able to catch it beforehand or whatever the case may be, just be honest with yourself. Don't lie about it. Don't try to cover it up. Don't try to hide it, because if it's something serious and major, they're going to find it. Just that simple. There's no way around it. That consists of, most of that consisted of Sunday when you get here. Okay, so the first day you go over, they collect the application, you have a little talk, orientation, welcome talk basically, and just basically paperwork, and you begin your CBTs. Ugh. It's about 50 videos, so good luck. And it's all about prime, learning, everything. So some of those videos, they have tests. Most of the stuff you're going to have to sign, and that's just that. But just make sure you pay attention to that, and make sure you know what you're signing before you sign it, basically. That consists of day 1. Day 2, more CBTs and more orientation, classroom, safety classes, kind of sort of thing. Yeah. The end of day 2, we were a little ahead of schedule, so the end of day 2, we got introduced to the simulator. That consisted of day 2. Day 3 was finalizing CBTs and simulator training, more simulator training, more classes on safety and other stuff about the company, and yeah, that consisted of day 3. Day 4, day 3, at the end of day 3, day 4, I'm gonna say that you will do like an assessment test to see where you're at as far as like your driving skills when it comes to you operating that vehicle on the simulator. You do have to score a certain percentage or certain point. They'll let you know that. Basically just want to see how safely you're able to operate that vehicle before they send you out on the road with the trainer. In that process of like day 2 to 3, you may begin starting to meet your trainer. Some people won't. Now, don't get happy, don't get excited, because that does not necessarily mean that you have been cleared. So while all this other stuff is going on in the background, Prime is going back over your background, checking your motor vehicle record, putting other things together, trying to find you a trainer. It's a lot just going on behind the scenes that they don't really tell you, and you kind of don't know what's going on either. So it's kind of important that you keep in touch with your recruiter, because they don't also know what's going on either. Everything is sent up to a specific location and taken care of there, so they can just give you the bare minimum and tell you to contact your contact your recruiter. I know in my situation, at day 4, I was still kind of waiting to be cleared because Prime was waiting on my last date of employment from a previous employer who had not been in contact with them since the first day. And Prime consistently tried to reach out to them, but my employer just wasn't responding. So what I had to do was, and this is why I say bring your last pay stub and your W-2s, is supply verification that I was still there the month that I said that I left, as proof. I had to show my pay stub with the dates on it as proof in order to be cleared. So I got cleared that same day. Now don't get, tied up, twisted in a bunch or anything like that. Prime does have their own recruiting office down in Pittston if you can't get in contact with your recruiter or the recruiting office, period. Also, day 4, you will, probably day 4, day 5, it depends. You will meet your fleet manager. Get to know that person very well. Because that person is going to get you paid, and will get them paid. Essentially, y'all a team. You and your trainer, they're a team. Everybody's a team. They're here this to make sure you pass and get your CDL and move on, and they'll explain all of that in the training class. I'm just trying to get you guys an idea of how everything goes. During the entire time, well, actually, let me go back. Day 5 will consist of a safety meeting, and you will leave with your trainer that day. You'll typically start to get your phone calls. Some don't, some do, but you'll typically probably start to get your phone calls from your trainer on that 4th day, because you're set to leave with them probably between that Friday and that Tuesday. It just depends on your trainer and what they're doing. But they'll call you, get some information or whatever, and you guys will meet up, get together after the safety meeting, and hit the road. And I haven't done day 5 yet, but tomorrow will be day 5, so I'll be checking out of this shitty hotel. Do know that checking into this hotel, it is shit where they have us at. I'm not even gonna go into details. Just know that it is shit, so just be prepared. I don't know if I mentioned this, but you can pay for your own room if you don't want to do the roommate, and you can drive, and Prime will reimburse you your money when you become a full-time Prime employee, and that is after the PSD phase. So yeah. Let me get into the differences between that, PSD and TNT. PSD is when you come in either without a Class A CDL or you have a Class A CDL but you have limited experience. Let me just say that. With that being said, you could check out Prime's website as to the details of which seat class you may fall under. I fall under D seat. I came into Prime or applied for Prime with my Class B license, and I'm trying to get my A. So I will fall under seat D as in David, where I have to do 50,000 miles after I get my CDL. And yeah, Prime does train you to get your CDL if you didn't know that. Class B as in boy, and C seat as in cat. Check the website. It'll tell you how many miles that you have to do if you've worked for a previous employer and you have a certain amount of miles with them. It'll explain all that information to you. Now, the only folks who's going to transition from this orientation phase and go right into a truck is those people who come in from another company with the Class A. Just know that before you come here to Prime, please make sure that you do not get fired from your previous employer. You need at least 3 years of verifiable employment. Typically your recruiter would do that before you hit the road to come out here. but they do need last dates of employment, because like I said, that was my issue. But once you get here, they're going to ask you for 10 years of employment history due to the fact that it's a DOT qualification. I don't know why, it just is. So you got to remember all them jobs you had way back in the day, when you started them, when you left, all that type of bullshit. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. During the whole phase, you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the cost. They'll tell you all that stuff when you get there. During the phase of getting your CDL, when you're with the trainer, you'll get $200 weekly. And then after you graduate with your CDL and you become an employee at that time, that's the TNT phase. You will then receive a minimum of $700 as long as you're available to dispatch. The closer you get to your 50,000, I think it's when you hit 40,000 miles is when you begin to get a minimum of at least 800. Then after you finish that last 10,000 that you got to get to meet your 50,000, you then will be able to upgrade into your own truck or go company. Right now, I'm kind of unsure of which one I want to do, just due to the time frame of, when I will be turned away on my own and winter time coming up and not really having that Class A experience as of yet. And don't get me wrong, I do have experience driving a big vehicle, but nothing bigger than a city transit bus. For those of you that know me or don't know me or new to the channel or whatever, I do come from out of the DC metropolitan area, so I did drive city buses out there, and it's definitely not too much of a different ball game, but I'm pretty sure it's a different ball game, because you're dealing with heavier weight, longer vehicle. But I'm up for the challenge. I just put it this way: I'm just taking it one day at a time, because you just never know where things may go. And my advice to anybody out there is, if you want it, go get it. I want to shout out some people that was very helpful in my process and in my search of determining what I wanted to do or whatever in this whole trucking phase. So shout out to YTTA, JMV the Trucker, Man in the Land Trucking, KB the Trucker, Tulsa Trucking, Trucker Brown. It's a few to name out there, actually. Some of these people know that I've been subscribing and watching them. Some people don't. Some I've reached out to ask questions. Some I didn't. But they all will give you some great advice and good information before and prior to jumping into this trucking shit.
Whoa, that's just the ways, yeah. I swear that's just the ways. I can't change how I was raised.